No.
Okay, so today I'll be discussing who can and cannot vote in the United States. Do electoral colleges strip their value from voting? And moving forward by shaping the future. So as you can see, the slide says illegal immigration is a crime and no human being is illegal. So there's two sides of vote. So who can and cannot vote? So according to the official website of the United States government, on October 11, 2019, who can and cannot vote in U.S. elections? So people who can vote is U.S. citizens. They meet states residency requirements. You can be homeless and still meet these requirements 18 years on or before election day. So why do you have to be a U.S. citizen to vote? Because natural born and legal citizens have the duty to shape their own home for their benefit, and if, for example, non-citizens from Brazil flood the U.S. and vote in elections, over time, would the United States still be the United States, or would it be a prime country to Brazil? And it also, on a side note, it's a federal crime for non-citizens to vote in federal elections, and in most cases, leads to deportation. So according to Shorstein, Lasnitsky, and Gihan's personal jury in September 16, 2016, if you are not a citizen and you vote in federal election, then you have likely violated the federal law on lawful voting, even if you did not know you were doing anything wrong. Okay, so why can homeless people vote in the United States? So people living in poverty in the United States are still people of the United States, allowing them the opportunity to be accounted for in elections and receive additional aid depending on who is voted for the elections. People with felony convictions, people who are mentally incapacitated, according to the official website of the United States in October 11, 2019, are not allowed to vote in elections, and rules vary by state. So, granted access to vote at the age of 18 is important because young people are the future of America, and I'll discuss that later throughout the presentation. So, let's discuss what might discourage people from not voting. So, do electoral colleges strip the value of individuals' vote? So the true answer is no. In fact, it increases the value of each person's vote and the safety of the United States in a compromise. So the Founding Fathers, I'm not saying that's the Founding Father, but the Founding Fathers, though it was invented by the Founding Fathers in 1781, according to the History Magazine's Electoral College on July 15, 2019, back when slaves were only counted as 3/5 of a person and before women were allowed to vote, it still holds benefits in modern America. So according to the United States government on April 16, 2016, the number of electorals equals the number of representatives plus 2 electors up for the Senate. Each state has 2 senators, which are elected by the statewide vote, and the representatives are elected by the individual's districts, are based on the population in the state, and electors are chosen by the general vote who are committed in voting for their party. So this process allows states like Rhode Island, Vermont, and New Hampshire to be protected and be able to vote, to be protected against big states like Texas and California, because each electoral vote is important. So California is mainly a blue safe state and leads the United States in population density. So if we were to abolish, leads the United States in population density 39.51 million, according to the United States Census Bureau. If electoral colleges were abolished, then the country would vote Democrat every single election based on California's decision, which would really diminish the value of voting for the rest of the country and leads to corruption. So how can ordinary people shape the future of the United States? So as you can read the slide, today we march, tomorrow we vote. People who are elected to run and operate things begin with people's general vote. The 60-year-old man who seems to be in office for about 40 years was elected by the people to be put in that position at some point. That's why young people are encouraged to vote, because old people aren't going to be around when the United States move forward in time. You are, and you'll have the decision of dealing with the issues of your time. They won't. Modernizing the United States is possible due to participation of the people actively participating, such as on June 26, 2015, according to the New York Times, in Supreme Court ruling makes same-sex marriage a right nationwide. Due to the activism and passion of due to the activism and passion of young Americans, policies were pushed forward that could not have been relevant or even thought about 20 years from now. So to conclude my presentation, voting is a reserved right of the people of the United States take for granted. Voting is a reserved right that people of the United States take for granted, which citizens of other countries do not have the privilege of relying on such systems because it is forbidden, like Venezuela, North Korea, and the Vatican City, all of which are years behind the United States socially, economically, and politically. So to summarize everything that I went over today, voting focuses on the people of the United States and reserves the decision making solely for them. Electoral colleges do not diminish the value of voting, but creates a fair fight for every individual, increasing political change every term. The direction of the United States is based on the people who vote, which decide whether to modernize the country or keep it traditional. So, in this year's coming presidential election, I encourage you to participate in voting, but be educated and understand your options clearly to decide how the United States can benefit you. Here's a quote by one of the GOATs. Elections belong to the people. It's their decision. If they decide to turn their backs on the fire, then they burn their behinds. Then they will have to just sit on their blisters. That quote was by Abraham Lincoln. Thank you.